welcome to Sriram's IAS. Today in this session, we will be discussing the key challenges faced by India's urbanization and the policies and recent initiatives like e-bus and e-rail. Also, why is this topic important for UPSC mains is because UPSC already has asked two questions in this theme. First was about the efficient and affordable urban mass transport being a key for rapid economic development. This question was asked in GS paper 1. Second, what are the main constraints in transport and marketing of agricultural produce in India? But yes, how do we relate this is with transport? As you all might have gone through the news of Vande Bharat train going to the corners of India. That too is basically for both the carriage of freight and passengers. Now, understanding that transport sector is very much important for both economic development and economic growth, this topic becomes pertinent for your UPSC mains. So let's understand what are the challenges, solutions and key developments in this topic. Let's begin with the introduction. As India is proceeding towards the Vision India, that is the Viksit Bharat by 2047, we need to understand that how transport is going to play a key role in this. So India's population, which is expected to grow, over 60% of the population is expected to live in urban areas, which necessitates this thing that we need efficient urban transit. Further, there is an holistic impact of urban transport system on the matters of mobility, but also for economic productivity, climate sustainability and social inclusion. So therefore, we will just go through the current urban transit landscape, because India's urbanization pattern has seen multiple challenges from Tier 1 cities to Tier 3 cities, and basically we were focusing on the smart cities under the smart city mission. But yes, the new smart cities are not coming up like those in China. So what we need to do is we need to pay more focus towards these smart cities. Further, there is an increasing travel demand, because when we see the outgrowing areas or we see urban sprawl happening around the Tier 1 cities, this demands more transport and travel by passengers and freight on day-to-day basis. Therefore, there is an underlying challenge, that is inadequate planning in this sector. Therefore, mobility demands this planning, that we need to be cost efficient and we need to decrease the pressure on urban infrastructure. That is where we will start this question with the introduction. So we will include these 3 points in our introduction. Further, what are the key government initiatives and budgetary focus on transport? First of all, the public transport initiatives like PM e-bus Sewa, which is providing a payment security mechanism to enhance the city bus fleets. Second, we have PM e-drive scheme, which was recently launched, and this further supports the deployment of 14,000 e-buses, 1.1 lakh e-rickshaws, trucks and ambulances. Therefore, there are key initiatives which are driven by the government and pushed by government for this urban mobility. Lastly, we have a greater focus on developing the metro networks. But yes, there is a challenge in this transport sector, as you see that this demands huge capital investment. Further, only 35,000 urban buses are operational, but there is actually the need of around 22 lakh such buses. Further, merely 37% of the urban population has access to public transport. Metro viability is hindered by high capital cost, and there is huge fare sensitivity, and operational costs of metro cities and metro operations is huge, because you all might have been through this topic earlier also in your static part, that metro cities or metro operations are not viable in Tier 2 cities, but rather they are more profitable in Tier 1 cities. Further, the last mile connectivity problems, as you might see that 50% of the people in Brazil and China, they are easily having the access to transport, but that is not the case with India. Therefore, what we need last mile connectivity, which is not being provided adequately by the public infrastructure or public transport which we have currently. So there are underlying issues and government is taking steps on this, but yes, there are challenges also. What are the challenges? The first one is cost inefficiency. Cost inefficiency, like there is maintenance cost and capital cost involved in metro operations. Financial instability, because this operation which derives or which is based on a high capital input has to sustain for long term in order to generate adequate profit. Limited private participation also deters the thing, because we all know that railway had a state monopoly for long time and now private sector is involved in that also. Subsidy dependence. Public transport is highly subsidized and this dependence creates a disincentive for private investments to come in. Next, we should explore more alternatives to public transport like the electric buses rather than, and also the hybrid buses which will be run on CNG and hydrogen and biofuel. Further, we also need to check scalability of road-based models. Road-based models like buses, because these provide short-term gains and they are scalable also. Now, what we should do is, we should focus on the rail-based solutions more, like trams which used to run in India earlier in 1960s to 1980s. These have long-term profitability. They are projected to create a 45% of profit over a 70-year operational cost or over a 70-year operational period. Further, there is a need of robust infrastructure, but the trams and trolley buses, we already have infrastructure of railways which is implanted, which is already there. We just need to use it efficiently. Done. Next, trolley buses. These are moderately efficient solutions. They have minimal net losses. So these suggestions of e-buses, trolleys and trams, we can give in our answer so that we provide a policy solution for what? For this urban mobility problems. Next, there is a need for rational planning. What kind of problem is there with planning? As we discussed, this problem has to be addressed with policy reforms. What policy reforms do we need to bring in? First is the life cycle cost analysis of all the infrastructural models, whether that is e-bus, whether that is a tram, whether that are trolley buses. We need to analyze their life cycle cost analysis, which will guide the transport decisions further. The transit solutions should align with the climate goals. Because we should turn towards more greener mobility section than the pollution creating already the traditional system which we have, whether that is based on petrol or diesel. Financial sustainability should be there. It should create short-term profits which will make the system run for longer time. Further, the Kochi's and Tamil Nadu's recently planned tram project could be a viable solution which we can mention in our answers. China's smart cities and Brazil and China's last mile connectivity can be solutions from where we can understand that what India needs to learn from these countries. Last, what is the way forward for mobility sector? First, we need to revamp our transport policy. How we need to revamp it? We need to include cost effectiveness in the rail-based systems which we already have. Further, we need to ensure multimodal integration of metros with buses, trams and last mile services like rickshaws and auto rickshaws or trucks for freight. Further, we need to prioritize the public-private partnership which will guarantee returns. We should also establish the urban mobility labs so that we back our new innovations based on research in this mobility sector. Lastly, we need to promote the smart city infrastructure more and more, and there is a need for more smart cities in this sector. Lastly, we also need to conclude with a summary of this topic in our answer, that is that how India needs to balance both the climate challenges, the financial challenges, and we need to mobilize our resources accordingly so that they will be sustainable, economically, financially viable, and administratively implementable. With this, we conclude this video. I hope you liked it, and if you need this PPT, you can join our Telegram channel. Thank you. Jai Hind.